Have you ever replayed one conversation for months? Not because it was beautiful, but because it never really ended. The message you almost sent, the question they never answered, the goodbye that felt incomplete. Sometimes your mind is not holding on to the person, it is holding on to the missing ending. And here is the unsettling part. An unanswered message can occupy more space in your mind than an entire relationship that ended clearly. Why? Because the brain does not only remember what happened, it keeps returning to what still feels unresolved. Imagine two doors. Behind the first door is a conversation that ends with clarity. I cannot continue this relationship. It hurts, but the meaning is visible. Behind the second door is silence. No explanation, no final answer. Just a gap large enough for your imagination to enter. Which door do you think your mind will keep checking? Most people assume that memories stay because they were intense. But intensity is only part of the story. A memory can stay active because the brain has not decided what it means or what to do next. That is where things become interesting. Think of your attention as a room with limited space. A finished task can be placed on a shelf, but an unfinished task remains on the table, quietly asking to be noticed. The same thing can happen with social experiences. A conversation interrupted at the emotional peak may become an open mental tab. You continue working, eating, driving, and talking to other people, but part of your attention keeps checking that tab. Not necessarily because you want to go back, because your brain is still searching for a coherent ending. Silence is not empty information. Silence is ambiguous information. A delayed reply could mean distraction, exhaustion, uncertainty, a busy day, or disinterest. The problem is that the brain dislikes having several possible explanations open at once, so it begins generating its own. It studies punctuation, the length of a pause, a change in tone, the moment they looked away. And when the evidence is incomplete, imagination often supplies a missing pieces. The real reason is not always what you think. Sometimes the mind is not remembering a fact. It is trying to solve a mystery with missing evidence. There is another reason unfinished social moments can feel so powerful. Humans are built to notice acceptance and rejection. Belonging has never been a decorative feature of human life. It has been tied to safety, cooperation, and survival. Research reviewed by the American Psychological Association describes social rejection as affecting emotion, attention, performance, and behavior. In controlled experiments, social exclusion has also been associated with activity in brain regions involved in the experience of physical pain. That does not mean heartbreak is literally a broken bone. It means the nervous system treats social disconnection as a serious event. So when an interaction becomes unclear, your mind may keep monitoring it, not because you are weak, but because connection matters to the human nervous system. Memory is not a video file you simply replay. Each time you remember an event, you reconstruct it from fragments, images, emotions, assumptions, and the meaning you gave it later. That means an unfinished conversation can change while you revisit it. One day, you remember the exact words. The next day, you remember the expression on their face. Later, you remember what you think the expression meant. The story can become more emotionally precise, even when the evidence stays incomplete. This is why rumination can feel like investigation. It gives you the sensation that one more replay will finally reveal the answer. But repetition is not the same as discovery. An unresolved interaction can become more than a question about another person. It can become a question about you. Was I too much? Not enough? Did I miss something obvious? Could I have prevented it? This is where uncertainty starts borrowing the language of identity. One unanswered message becomes, "People always leave me." One awkward meeting becomes, "I am impossible to understand." But a social event is not automatically a verdict on your worth. A healthy interpretation keeps several explanations alive. It separates what you know from what you fear. It refuses to turn one incomplete moment into a permanent personality label. Reflection asks, what can I learn from this? Rumination asks the same question repeatedly, but never allows an answer to be enough. Reflection has a direction. It leads to a decision, a boundary, a conversation, or acceptance of what cannot be known. Rumination circles the same emotional coordinates while pretending to move forward. A useful test is simple. After thinking about the situation, do you have more clarity or only more versions of the same fear? If the answer is fear, the next step may not be another analysis. It may be a pause. One of the most practical ways to quiet an unfinished mental loop is to give it a specific next step. Not a dramatic confrontation, not 10 paragraphs sent at midnight. A small, honest plan. If a clarification is appropriate, decide what you want to ask and when you will ask it. If contacting the person will cross a boundary, write the question down and choose not to send it. If the situation is unresolved, define what you want to answer. Research and analysis is handled
There is a detail almost everyone misses. An ending does not always arrive as an explanation. Sometimes it arrives as a pattern. Repeated silence, continual inconsistency, avoidance whenever a clear conversation becomes possible. You do not need to know every hidden motive to make a healthy decision about what you will accept. This is not about declaring the other person a villain. It is about recognizing that your life can be guided by observable behavior, not endless speculation about private intentions. When evidence stays absent, stop treating imagination as evidence. Giving yourself an ending does not mean pretending you know what happened. It means choosing a sentence that is honest enough to live by. I may never know why they pulled away. This affected me, but it does not define me. I can miss the possibility without returning to the pattern. A self-created ending is not a magical eraser. The memory may still visit. The difference is that it no longer has unrestricted authority over your attention. You can notice the question without becoming the question. Maybe the conversation you cannot stop replaying is not asking you to go back. Maybe it is showing you where uncertainty touches an older fear, being forgotten, misunderstood, replaced, or left without a voice. That does not make the fear irrational. It makes it human. But the present moment deserves to be examined on its own terms. Ask yourself, am I responding to what happened today,
or to every unfinished ending that came before it? That question can change the entire shape of the memory. The mind keeps returning to unfinished conversations because it is trying to protect you from uncertainty. But protection can become captivity when every unanswered question is treated as an emergency. So the next time you feel pulled toward an old message, pause before you search for a hidden meaning. Name what is known, name what is imagined. Choose one respectful next step, or choose to release the search. And remember this, sometimes closure is not discovering the perfect explanation. Sometimes closure is realizing that your future does not need permission from an unanswered past. Subscribe to PsyloMind to discover the secrets of your mind. If this changed the way you see yourself or the people around you, like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and visit PsyloMind for more in-depth psychological analysis.